Friends, in this video for I Thought Wealth, I'm going to talk to you on the topic thematic investing, my views. I have been a thematic investor for as long as I can remember. In the early years, it was themes like FMCG, very obvious ones. As time progressed, I have played a number of themes which are very different, like fertilizer reforms, gas reforms, milk privatization and productization of milk, growth in building materials in rural India. There have been many themes. In recent years, financialization is a very important theme, and I think that financialization as a theme has a very long runway. I am saying this at a time when pessimism in every arm of the financialization theme is running very high, whether it's asset management companies or insurance companies or stockbroking houses or even the national stock exchange, the stock exchanges. There is a lot of cynicism about whether financialization will really lead to wealth creation. If I start talking about the platforms which are bleeding money, all of them except one, I'm sure that hardly anyone would think that this is a great theme to bet on. But the time to bet on themes is not when they are doing extremely well or when their valuations are very rosy or in the higher end of their range. The time to bet is when valuations are running down very rapidly, when investor confidence is sinking, and when the sector is almost a consensus sell. Thematic investing has helped me in many ways. It has helped me to focus more intensely on a theme and within a theme. When I say building materials, I didn't look at tiles. I actually liked sanitary ware because we had better margins, and this was 10-12 years ago. Not only it had better margins, the number of players were also limited. Subsequently, the tile manufacturers also came into sanitary ware, and today sanitary ware is becoming a crowded trade. But when you are early in the theme and when you are looking at the theme from the perspective of its ability to grow and ability to create a big profit pool, at that time sanitary ware was a very good theme between 12 and 15 years ago. And I focused on ideating that theme at that time, and it was extremely profitable to be invested in the theme for 5 to 7 years. Investing in a theme by believing aggressively in it is one part. The more important part is how to play the theme. Which part of the value chain in a theme should you bet upon? If you really want to bet on power as an idea, how would you invest? Would you invest in coal, or would you invest in distribution companies, or would you invest in generators or in transmission companies in which you have very limited choice, or would you invest on companies making the meters, or would you go and invest on companies which make all the power equipment which will be needed to supply quality power to the consumer, or would you bet on companies which fund power projects, or would you bet on companies which provide platforms to trade power? I have given a very neat example. In that, I felt the best part was the platforms which traded power, and this was when they were at their near lows a few years ago. I don't subscribe to the same view today, but at that point, I felt that was the way to play the theme. I just gave you a few examples to give you a sense of how you like a theme and like something within the theme. You can't blindly jump into the most obvious part of a theme. If I were to do that, I should have bought tile companies which have been great on the stock market, but fundamentally they have not shown the kind of improvement in their business fundamentals. I would like the valuations to always be justified by fundamentals. Today as we speak, there are multiple themes. There is no dearth of themes. You have overvalued themes and you have themes which are moderating in valuation only to become undervalued in the near future. As an investor, you need to know how to be observer in an overvalued theme which is losing value, and how to latch onto a theme which is soon going to become undervalued. So this is a kind of a transition phase in thematic investing. I see a lot of people jumping to buy themes which are losing value simply because they are comparing with that overvaluation phase 2 years ago. I don't subscribe to that view, and I stop my criticism with that one sentence. Time will answer why. Because if we debate these things, it becomes ugly, and I have no time or energy to do that, nor am I interested in that. But most people convincing themselves and peddling to others overvalued themes of 2022, saying that they are undervalued because from overvalued they have just lost a little bit of valuation. But remember that the fundamentals have deteriorated far more, and we don't know whether they are going to improve from here or they are going to deteriorate further. That's where I am holding my horses, and I am not going to say anything. Let time answer, but I would not go on this trade. I would strictly stay away from it. On the other hand, there were themes which didn't participate in the last boom too much, or new themes which are just emerging like QSR, where companies are just coming into market. Food as a theme itself is a great idea. Logistics as a theme, great idea. Power as a theme is going to be running for the next 5 to 10 years. I know there have been many false starts in the power theme over the last 20 years, but I think this decade will belong to power. And the difficulty is in finding how to play it, because a lot of the parts of the power chain is not liked by the investment fraternity. So we have to find some parts which will become lucrative. At the moment, I think that equipment is the only way I can think of. Metals again is another theme which people dislike. It could see difficult times in the coming years, but India is going to produce volumes which we cannot imagine today in the next 5 years. If you are going to produce those volumes, I think you cannot ignore the theme. There will be some parts of the value chain which will be efficient allocators of capital and which will throw out capital for shareholders. It's important to play that theme as well. So many of the boring themes of today may become the exciting themes 5 years down the road or 3 years down the road. We don't know when. It's important to focus on those themes rather than the themes which are on slow sunset mode or a slow wane mode. It's like going and betting on a star whose fortunes are on the descent. Don't do that. Never do that, whether it's going to watch a movie or whether it's going to invest in a theme. These are some of my thoughts on thematic investing that I thought I would share with you today. Please put your thoughts in the comment section. It will be good to hear what others think and create a very healthy debate in future videos. Thank you for being with us and watching this video.